Welcome to the topic Robo-Advisory. In this session, we will get an introduction to the background and workflow of a typical robo-advisor, sometimes also called automated portfolio management. Let us start by taking a look at the background and origin of robo-advisory. There are several explanations for the emergence of robo-advisors, and on the other hand, major advancements in algorithm-based investing, as well as the emergence of fintechs that further develop such technologies. Let us first look at the shortcomings of the traditional financial retail industry. One of the problems is the lack of consulting quality because of product-oriented and commission-based sales. Since investment advisors often receive commission-based remuneration, in theory and in practice, there may be a certain conflict of interest. The potential criticism states that the investment advisor prefers to sell those products that enable a high commission. Moreover, a lack of individualization might be criticized by small investors. Due to the lack of low-cost, personalized investment solutions, investments are often ultimately made in standardized, actively managed investment funds. The underlying reason might be that a highly personalized investment strategy for a small retail investor is simply too expensive for the bank. On top of that, actively managed investment funds in particular show difficulties in outperforming the market index, even though the actively managed funds charge a management fee. In the long run, they often underperform a passive investment strategy. At the same time, recent years have shown major advancements in financial technology. The bank branch might not be longer perceived as a market entry barrier for approaching and onboarding customers. The internet enables the connection and onboarding of multiple small retail investors and innovative fintech companies. Moreover, financial information is nowadays widely available to retail investors via the internet. This availability enables personal investment decisions from retail investors. At the same time, the abundance of financial information might reduce the dependence from actively managed funds and personal financial advice. Both the shortcomings of the traditional financial industry and the progress and advancements of the last years have contributed significantly to the popularity and rise of fintechs and particularly robo-advisors. While we have seen now some background information on the origins of automated investment advisors, we will now continue and take a look at a definition of a robo-advisor. We can split the word robo-advisor and we will obtain the word robo on the one hand and the word advisor on the other hand. Robo refers to an automated process without human intervention. Based on mathematical and statistical tools and algorithms, investments are executed or liquidated automatically. The second word, advisor, generally stands for an investment and financial management service. In our case, the service is offered through an online or mobile channel. Let's proceed with the characteristics of a typical robo-advisor. In the fintech universe, various definitions and characterizations of robo-advisors with different features are circulating. One possible description for a robo-advisor might be the following. A robo-advisor is mainly characterized by two features. On the one hand, the customer communicates primarily with a computer. Human intervention in the consulting process is absent. On the other hand, the service is mainly provided by a mathematical process or algorithm. On top of that, the lion's share of robo-advisors have a banking or a portfolio administration license. On the basis of a questionnaire, the return and risk profile of the customer is determined. Suitable financial instruments and their share in the overall portfolio are then identified for each customer. The main instruments are passive exchange-traded funds, or in short ETFs. Portfolio composition and market situation are regularly reviewed by the algorithm. If the portfolio composition no longer corresponds to the risk appetite determined by the customer, the initial parameters are restored by means of purchases and sales of assets. The reporting process to the investors is also fully automated. Thanks to the algorithms, a robo-advisor can evaluate a large amount of information very quickly and react accordingly. The robo-advisor simultaneously supervises and manages a large number of portfolios. By using the algorithms, the amount of staff can be reduced to a minimum. Consequently, operating costs are relatively low for robo-advisors. As a result, the robo-advisor can therefore offer comparatively low management fees to the customers. In many cases, robo-advisors do not have a minimum investment amount, which might be very attractive, especially for small and micro investors. The use and application of the robo-advisor, as well as the initial associated account opening process, is usually simple and clearly structured. Let's have a look at the main differentiations between an online and a branch offer of a traditional bank and a robo-advisor. The table shows the criteria for the comparison on the left side. The characteristics of the bank are in the middle, those of a typical robo-advisor on the right. The regulatory requirements are challenging for both the bank and the robo-advisor. Traditional banks have a high regulatory burden, but robo-advisors also have regulatory burden. The IT systems of many large banks are a central weakness, as they are often very interwoven and very old. One consequence is that innovation is made more difficult. Robo-advisors are not dependent on old existing IT systems, as is the case with traditional banks. Traditional banks usually have many branches. The consequences are relatively high costs and high staff expenses for the branch network. On the other hand, the proximity to customers by a personal contact through a person in the branch creates real trust. Physical presence can have a major advantage in the context of investments. However, the physical presence also has its price, making investment advice provided by the bank relatively expensive. Usually, a robo-advisor does not operate branches and therefore has relatively few staff. However, the algorithms can be used to serve a large number of customers and enable a scalable business model. The lack of branches of robo-advisors might make it difficult to build up trust with a robo-advisor. The level of automation of robo-advisors is very high, which results into efficient processes. The important challenge of a robo-advisor is to reach customers and convince them that an automated investment with an online advisor is a promising alternative to the traditional banking industry. The customer is put into the center of attention of a robo-advisor by websites with high usability and transparency. We will now continue and take a look at the typical workflow of a robo-advisor. A robo-advisor performs the following 5 steps. First, appropriate asset classes are identified. These asset classes, suitable for robo portfolios, often comprise stocks, bonds, and inflation-protected assets. ETFs, which best represent these asset classes, are pre-selected. In the next step, the investor is guided through an online questionnaire. The purpose here is to filter individual investment preferences, such as risk tolerances. The investment strategy is thereafter implemented based on the client's preferences, which are derived from the initial questionnaire. The client's funds are allocated to a specific and adequate portfolio. The so-called asset allocation, which means the distribution of funds into the various investment products, is fully algorithm-based. Many robo-advisors rely on the modern portfolio theory for asset allocation. Another important step of a robo-advisor is the monitoring and adjustment of the allocation of the created portfolio. The monitoring and rebalancing processes ensure that the individual portfolio risk always corresponds to the client's expectations from the questionnaire. Finally, the investor can regularly view the performance and other key figures of the individual portfolio via the internet or an app. In case you want to learn more about robo-advisory, you can read the chapter Robo-Advisory in the book FinTech Business Models. Thank you for your attention.